Claire mentioned, I'm Rupa Dachere. I'm the CEO and founder of ThriveWise. Prior to ThriveWise, I had about 27 years of experience as a software engineer in the Silicon Valley. And then I've recently moved out of the US to Portugal, and now I'm here in Seoul. So I'm very happy to be here with this esteemed group of panelists, including Ramneet, who should be online pretty soon.
Yeah, I am. Hello.
Oh, yay! Hey, Ramneet. Ramneet is joining us from Silicon Valley. She works at SRI. So I will start off. So the format is we'll start off with every panelist introducing themselves for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will go into questions. And the way I like to run this is please ask your questions because we want to have audience participation and make this into a discussion and not just, like a Q&A kind of thing. It's, just involve yourself as well. So because you are all excellent at all these topics, and so I'm sure you have questions and comments to make on this. So with that, I am going to get started with Ramneet. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It looks a bit weird looking at myself in a very big screen there. But hello, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't attend it in person, and I guess I'm the only person virtual here. But let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Ramneet Kaur, and I'm an advanced research scientist in the Computer Science Lab in Stanford Research Institute in the Bay Area, California. My research is deeply rooted in the intersection of trustworthy AI and fairness, with intersection of trustworthy, resilient, explainable AI, especially focusing on safety critical domains such as healthcare and autonomous driving, financial sector, where small mistake can cause to very disaster outcomes, right? So I hold a PhD degree in Computer and Information Science Lab of University of Pennsylvania, where again my PhD thesis focused on developing resilient AI systems by detecting those inputs to these networks which are unfamiliar and specifically risky inputs to these networks. During the course of my research career, I have been fortunate enough to work on to contribute and work on high impactful projects under defense agency that's known as DARPA here in the US, and with a couple of best paper awards during this journey. And here, being a woman in STEM, or should I say only woman in my lab, when I started my PhD under the advisor, as well as the trend continues, being the only woman in my team at SRI, I'm a very strong advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm honored to be here sharing my journey with all of you, and open to conversations as technologists, and most importantly, as a part of a community. How can we develop AI systems that serves and uplifts each and every corner of our society? So, thank you, Rupa.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ramneet. Next, I would like to ask Professor Yi to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Sang-Wook Yi. I'm a philosopher at the Department of Philosophy and Department of Artificial Intelligence at Hanyang University. As you can see, my double affiliation, my major is philosophy of science and technology. Especially these days, I'm focused on the various philosophical issues, including ethical issues on the frontier science and technology, including synthetic biology, AI, or the quantum technology. It's a great honor for me to participate in this panel, especially I, with Kwon Ohsung, my fellow panelists, including published a book on on this kind of topic quite recently. It's called in Korean AI 편견을 넘다, which is AI going over the prejudice or bias. And this book was a kind of multidisciplinary approach to look at the various issues of AI application or deployment on the gender issues, as well as how you can make better design of AI for the future. We think it's desirable in ethical and social respect. And based on this kind of research, actually, it was before this publication, I have a great experience of being a part of an expert group who drafted the UNESCO recommendation for AI ethics in 2021. And during that deliberation time for drafting this recommendation, I learned a lot from my fellow experts, especially when we think about this kind of frontier technology, which hasn't been matured yet. So it has a lot of uncertainties in technological sense, as well as ethical, social sense. You have to take into account that there are so many values which might conflict in certain specific cases when we think about better AI or human-centered AI or any kind of AI you want to make in the future. And because of this kind of potential conflicts, you have to come up with reasonable trade-offs between various values. What I'm saying reasonable, of course, is not universally accepted because some people might think that value A is much more important than value B, and there are some other people who think exactly opposite way. So you have to have a deliberation and you have to have a consultation, but multi-stakeholder approach always have a reasonably. That's why I'm saying reasonably good consensus on moving on forward in our development of ethically desirable AI. So I learned a lot from that experience, and I hope that this panel also discuss this kind of really difficult, but still we can have some reasonable consensus questions in this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yi. That was very interesting. Next, Kasia, would you like to introduce yourself?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Kasia Jakimowicz. You're going to hear from my accent that I'm Polish, so not Russian. I get this question a lot. Yeah, exactly, you know this. All right, so I'm just clarifying. And thank you, Rupa, for the invitation. So we actually met in Silicon Valley, right? So this is a nice connection. All right, so maybe the most interesting position was the last position that I held until July this year, and I'm very happy to hear about your engagement in UNESCO guidelines. I was an sort of AI negotiator representing UK, United Kingdom government. I was a senior advisor on AI, data science and innovation at United Kingdom delegation to United Nations. And I was deeply involved in all the negotiations of Global Digital Compact. And I think we can talk about it a little bit more later on, but the Global Digital Compact that was adopted at UN General Assembly last year is the first of its kind comprehensive digital framework that covers everything. Everything and anything, right? And nothing at the same time, but basically everything when it goes for digital cooperation, and we can talk later on about this. So it's quite interesting because I'm a Polish citizen, US permanent resident that represented UK in the negotiations at United Nations General Assembly. Other than that, I am also an expert with the World Bank on digital development. So, and previously I was in European Commission in DG Connect and DG RTD. And also I was a global lead of ITU, International Telecommunication Union, International Center of Digital Innovation, in the office of now Secretary General of ITU, before an executive director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau. I come from the very diverse backgrounds. So I come from Business Fortune 500, where I was taking care of product and brand management for different brands that are globally well known. And then I moved into designing policies for startups and entrepreneurship and innovation for European Union, including designing the biggest startup accelerator for the EU. It's called European Innovation Council Accelerator and Fund that I negotiated the setup of it, and it became a separate agency of European Union. I had the pleasure to study at Harvard Kennedy School, and so I'm an alumni of Harvard Kennedy School, and then worked with MIT on AI and data, including pandemic response. And I trained a lot of people on AI and data when it was still not very popular, so 2019, 2020. And to give you a story, when I came to Harvard Kennedy School and I was already working on digital policies, I was almost one of the very few people that knew what's digital single market and what is digital about. And now when I look back and I see what's going on in Harvard Kennedy School, everybody wants to do AI governance, and everybody right now is an expert in digital and AI. At the time, the only thing that everybody talks about was, I don't know, open source, open data, right? And it was very specialized. Maybe they started to explore AI autonomous vehicles. So it's interesting to see how the whole policy area progress over time. All right, I'm happy. That's it, I guess.
Thank you, Kasia. All right. And finally, we have Ohsung. Yes, please.
Is that okay to speak in local language?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
일단 뭐 한국 분들이 더 많으시니까 저는 한국말로 하고 또 교수님보다 영어가 짧기 때문에 저는 한국말로 하겠습니다. 네, 반갑습니다. 이렇게 좋은 자리 기회 이렇게 초대해 주셔서 감사드리고요. 저는 한국 마이크로소프트에서 어떻게 보면 세일즈 마케팅 쪽에 있는 부서에서 근무하고 있는 권오성이라고 합니다. 뭐 마이크로소프트는 어떻게 보면 지금 AI 시대죠. AI 지금 뭐 대전환하는 시기에서 가장 뭔가 실적으로 첫 평가받는다고 해야 될까요? 월가에서 평가받고 있는 그런 기업 중에 하나이기도 합니다. 물론 엔비디아도 있긴 하지만 지난주에 어닝콜이 있었습니다. 어닝콜. 그래서 보통 저희 어닝콜은 장외 시간에 하는데 장외 시간에 저희 주가가 10%가 올랐습니다. 갑자기 마이크로소프트라는 큰 기업의 주가가 10% 갑자기 올랐다는 건 어마어마한 거거든요. 그 이유가 뭐냐면 당연히 월가의 기대치를 능가한 거겠죠. 그 핵심은 AI가 돈을 버네. AI 가지고 돈을 버네였습니다. 그래서 이제 이게 엄청난 캐펙스가 들어가지 않습니까? 빅테크들 뭐 수십조, 수백조씩 지금 투자를 하면서 우리나라도 마찬가지지만 한 기업 자체가 우리나라가 투자하는 것보다 훨씬 많이 투자를 하고 있거든요. 캐펙스를 투자하고 있는데 돈을 벌까라는 의구심이 들었었는데 월가에서 이제 그걸 하나둘씩 증명해 가니까 이제 그렇게 주가에 갑자기 피크 치고 스파이크 치고 이제 그런 상황이 벌어진 것 같아요. 그래서 이제는 돈이 되는 사업이 됐고요. 저희는 이제 AI가 이제 더 이상은 탐색과 연구에서 벗어나서 이제는 돈을 벌 수 있는 거고 이제 기업들이 이 AI를 가지고 어떻게 새로운 사업을 더하고 돈을 더 벌까 그런 고민들을 하고 있습니다. 제가 있는 부서는 1년에 한 몇천 명의 이제 기업 고객 대상으로 AI라든가 에이전틱 AI를 가지고 말 그대로 인비전을 하면서 고객들이 갖고 있는 프로블럼들 아이디어를 어떻게 리얼리티로 현실로 전환시킬지 그런 것들을 이제 고민하는 부서인데 이제는 기업들이 단순 이제 탐색에서 이게 POC, 뭐 프로토타입에서 이제는 프로덕션으로 기업의 실제 핵심 프로세스에 AI를 접목해서 뭔가 비즈니스 가치적인 것, 그게 생산성이건 비용 절감이건 매출 확대건 이제 그런 쪽으로 연계해서 보기 시작을 했다. 결국 이제 이 AI라는 게 메인스트림이 되고 대중화가 이제 되기 시작을 한 거죠. 근데 저는 이제 대중화라는 걸 이제 그 뭐 마이크로소프트는 회사가 대중화 얘기를 많이 하고 있고 모든 기술의 대중화 얘기를 계속 하고 있는 기업인데 이게 대중화가 되려면은 이게 제가 한 2, 3년 동안 챗GPT라든가 그 젠 AI 이후에 이제 2, 3년 동안 제가 고객을 인게이지하면서 느낀 점은 이게 다이버시티 앤 인클루전이라는 거를 고려를 하지 않으면 이게 대중화가 되기는 어렵겠다라는 걸 실제 현장에서 느껴봤습니다. 그래서 개인적으로 아까 이 박사님이 얘기하셨지만 그런 좀 다양성, 포용성 이런 측면에서 편향이라든가 이런 걸 어떻게 능가할 수 있을까 그런 것 고민을 많이 하면서 같이 이제 책도 같이 썼고 거기에 이제 개인적으로 관심이 많아서 좀 그런 쪽에 많이 또 공부도 하고 있고 또 저희 인게이지하는 고객들 대상으로도 이게 D&I를 염두에 두지 않고 AI를 뭔가 어답션하고 트랜스포메이션하는 거는 나중에 가서는 문제가 생긴다 이런 얘기를 많이 하면서 많이 전파를 하고 있습니다. 그래서 오늘 좀 여러분들하고 대화하고 질문 뭐 이런 부분들을 그런 측면에서 좀 현장에서 겪은 경험들 그런 것들을 여러분들과 같이 좀 공유하고 나누는 그런 시간이 되었으면 하겠습니다. 예, 감사합니다.
Thank you so much, Ohsung. Yes, absolutely. You're at a women's conference, yes, of course. All right, so I would like to start off with some questions for Ramneet, if I can find them. So Ramneet,
Yep.
I have a question for you about AI models and ethics. So should AI models be required to pass an ethical audit before deployment, similar to safety inspections for physical products? Can you share your thoughts on that? And then I will ask the other panelists a similar question to get their opinions.
Sure, yeah. So my answer is definitely yes, because I mainly work in safety aspects of these models, and I have seen them fail like terribly, and they're not interpretable at all. So my answer is yes. AI models should be required to pass an ethical audit before deployment. Because these systems are now critically influencing decisions in safety critical domains, right? Such as healthcare, as I mentioned, finance, autonomous driving, public policy. So it is essential to ensure that they do not perpetuate or amplify biases, right? Or infringe on human rights or cause unintended harm. So an ethical audit is the way to systematically evaluate these models for potential issues such as biases, transparency, privacy, safety, and compliance with legal and social values before these systems are put into real world use, right? Much similar to safety inspections, as we mentioned, for physical products. So I'm a strong advocate for yes to this question.
So given that, who do you think should be doing the audit? Like, do you think it should be from from a country level perspective, from a global level perspective, from different other levels? What do you think?
So it can be performed at different levels, right? And the most important, irrespective of from where it's happening, most important should be like independent reviews. The body constituting this inspection audit team should represent different parts of the societies, which will be heavily impacted, right? So there should be diversity, not only in terms of gender, I mean, even background, right? As this panel, right here, so that it can be judged from different angles. And there can be an independent organization conducting these audits. It can be at different levels, right? But depending on the situation. So.
Great, thank you, thank you. So I wanted to ask the rest of the panelists your thoughts on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to add one conceptual point about this. One might think that why AI need any test even before deployment? But if you think any industrial product you are using in this room, for instance, this mic and computer, they are all tested before actually get into the hands of consumers. I mean, this is a routine way. The only thing which might be kind of novel in the domain of AI is because AI is, especially generative AI, is not yet mature technology in the sense, not in the sense that it's not complete, in the sense that we have a lot of uncertainties. How they behave in a specific cases. We have a general idea of their mechanism and the algorithm and how they perform in the average way, but we have not full control about the individual examples of AI behavior. That's why we need more ethical and social consideration when we look at this AI product and try to find out whether it's safe and trustworthy to be used massively by the general users. And I want to point out also that, as he said, this is not against industrial interest. Actually, it's for the industrial interest, because if certain products are not properly tested and got into use by massive users, there will be many unfortunate accidents and casualties, which might incur more damage to the company as well as to the industry. So it's actually economically sensible to do this kind of pre-monitoring.
May I add something?
Yes.
Sorry.
Well,
Just to add,
Yeah.
just one line, also to build trust amongst users, right? Just to give it a finishing line. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I want to dig a little deeper on this, okay? So I have company A, let's say Google, okay? Company B, Meta. All of them have massive LLMs, okay? And they're all saying, we have tested everything and it is perfect and we're just putting it out. We're doing everything we can, right? But we all know that's not true. So what do you think about, going back to the whole question about who is going to regulate this thing, right? Who's going to put in the checklist of like, you got to pass this, right? What entity is going to do that to have that kind of influence over these tech giants that have unlimited money and power? Okay. Who do you think is going to be able to handle that level of oversight, right?
But
Successfully.
I think it's kind of started, it's being handled, or we're just starting. I think European Union is like the first to do that, and of course let's discuss more. But I think this is something that is happening because immediately when we started the discussion, it's in my thought, okay, are we checking everything or just the big models, that foundational models that others gonna be using for the products, right? So there are like two different layers of this, and I guess EU AI Act tries to handle this in a way. And I don't know also if you know, but there is a European agency that's called European Agency for Algorithmic Transparency. I don't remember the abbreviation of it, maybe you do. And it's set up, it's a joint research center agency in Italy, based in Italy, and they are set up exactly for that, right? So somebody has to implement whatever EU AI Act is doing, and somebody's going to have to check this models. So this center in Italy is going to be responsible for checking the models, but of course, models, but not the products, right? Because it seems like too big of a thing to be done. Although when we look at it as on the product safety level, I guess we can look at it at the regional level, right? EU sets up the standards of what it can be, just as it was with GDPR. But then, of course, it goes back down to the national level. And just like with the product safety certification, it's done by the national certification bodies. I guess that could be done on the product safety level on the AI side, right? So there would be like different levels to it. So that's kind of my first thought.
저는 이런 이제 세프티, AI 세프티라든가 신뢰성 부분은 모두가 다 책임이 있다고 뭐 이렇게 저희는 생각을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 아까 이제 EU AI 액트도 얘기하셨지만 입법자들 그 법안 위반하시는 그런 쪽에서도 여러 가지 규제서부터 이제 정책 그런 걸 구성하고 있고 또 마이크로소프트라는 그 빅테크 다른 이제 여러 가지 빅테크들도 이제 그런 필드의 어떤 경험을 통해서 그런 입법하는데 많은 인풋과 경험들을 같이 공유를 하고 있습니다. 하지만 무엇보다 중요한 거는 그 개발 그 서비스를 AI 모델이라든가 어플리케이션이라든가 그 서비스를 하고 있는 그런 이제 기업 내에서 책임 있는 AI의 어떤 거버넌스 프레임워크 그런 것들이 절대적으로 필요하지 않나 생각이 됩니다. 그래서 이미 AI 서비스가 배포하기 전에 어떻게 보면 저희는 보통 이제 shift left라는 표현을 쓰는데 설계 디자인 단계에서부터 여러 가지 에스틱이라든가 뭐 여러 가지 필요한 뭐 요건들이 있겠죠. 책임 있는 AI 필요한 어떤 정책들, 리콰이먼트들 이런 것들이 이제 설계 단계부터 반영이 되고 궁극적으로는 배포 전에 저희 회사 같은 경우는 적대적 테스팅이라는 걸 합니다. adversarial testing이라고 그래서 이 AI 시스템의 어플리케이션이 오동작을 하고 있지 않는지, 그러니까 뭐 일부러 오동작하게끔 뭐 프롬프트라든가 프롬프트 주입을 한다든가 여러 가지 이제 그런 추가적인 테스팅을 통해서 그 취약점들을 미리 이제 배포하기 전에 발견하고 좀 더 세이프하고 신뢰성 있는 그런 AI 어플리케이션이 실제 사용될 수 있도록 그렇게 이제 노력들을 많이 하고 있습니다.
Okay, I think what you said is really, really important and to the point at the present situation. So, big tech tend to say that they are doing everything for the safety and ethical consideration in their product, but we cannot verify it. It's not just that we don't believe them. We just want to know on the what grounds they are saying they are safe. But they are saying that, okay, that's a trade secret. So you cannot really access to this. But I think there is a hope. There is an international AI governance forming now. And based on the various AI Safety Institute network, on the issues which is very crucial for national security or the arms and some of the trade, and those issues are so much concerned by the various governments, including the United States. They actually have an exception, even when it is related to the trade secret. The company has to divulge certain aspects of those procedures to be verifiable to the concerned parties. So I think we can give us some pressure for the big tech to make their, I think they are doing great efforts, I think, but make their efforts more transparent and verifiable by the third party, including various international organizations and even some of the local governments. And I think that's the right way forward, and we have to push hard for them to follow that track. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk in Korean just for a second because I'm going to talk about the very local issues. Yeah, so you can. 그리고 여기에서 이제 우리나라의 상황을 조금만 말씀을 드리면요. 우리나라에도 AI 기본법이 통과가 됐거든요. 그 AI 기본법에서 AI 윤리평가라는 걸 하게 법적으로 규정되어 있습니다. 물론 아직까지는 이게 강제가 아니라 여러 가지 아직은 이제 강제로 실시하기 어려운 복잡한 여러 가지 요인들이 있기 때문에 그렇지만 그럼에도 불구하고 그 하이 임팩트, 고영향 AI에 대해서는 ethical impact assessment, 그 윤리영향 평가를 실시하게 돼 있고, 이걸 권장하게 돼 있고, 그 권장하는 방식들을 지금 현재 논의 중입니다. 제가 참여 중인데, 그 AI 윤리영향 평가에서 아까 말씀하신 그런 AI가 안전하게 설계됐는가, 그리고 신뢰 가능하게 설계됐는가, 여러 가지 바이어스는 없는가, 이런 것들을 그냥 기술적으로만이 아니라 사회적으로 사람들한테 평가를 시키거나 여러 가지 방식으로 지금 테스트하려고 하고, 특히 AI 서비스, 그러니까 모델, 그 추상적인 그 기술적 모델만이 아니라 소비자들이 직접 쓰는 AI 서비스 단에서도 그게 어떤 문제를 일으키는지를 보려고 하고, 올해의 테스트 파일럿 프로젝트로 그 AI 채용 프로그램, employment 스크리닝, 그거를 이제 실시하려고 하고 있으니까 관련된 내용들은 좀 참고하시면 되고, 이미 인증, 서티피켓 관련해서는 우리나라에도 TTA라는 그 기관에서 굉장히 기술적인 측면에서 AI가 제대로 작동하거나 있는가에 대한 인증들을 실시하고 있고요. 이것들이 이제 충분히 제도화되기 위해서는 시간이 좀 필요하겠지만, 실제로 이렇게 대부분 분들이 생각하기에는 우리가 빅테크들 앞에서 뭐 하나도 할 수 있는 일이 없지 않아 라고 생각하시겠지만, 나름대로 진행되고 있는 일이 있고, 거기에 조금 더 힘을 실어주시면 이런 것들이 좀 더 그 널리 그 힘을 발휘할 수 있지 않을까, 그렇게 생각합니다. 네.
Excellent. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Thank you. I think Korea is doing a lot of things. They're better than the US. I'm going to take just 30 seconds to thank Director Yoon, as well as the awesome UN Women logistics team run by Claire and Sabine and Somin for setting up this conference. And it's been really great to see so many women, and the programs have been excellent. Logistics have been perfect. Food is awesome. Thank you so much for this. I hope this continues, and then we can, all come back and discuss, and hopefully things will improve, in the next few years, or less than that. Yes, please. One round of applause, please. All right, so now to the next questions. Kasia, I would like to ask a question for you. So, let's see.
Go for it.
Wait. I haven't read the question. What role should international organizations like the UN or World Bank play in supporting ethical AI, especially in low-resource environments where gender and power imbalances are most acute?
All right. I was thinking about this question. I don't know if they can do a lot in low-resource environments, actually, but I'm gonna attune to that. But I think before that, I wanna cover a little bit of what's going on in global AI governance dynamics, power dynamics, and I kind of invite all the speakers to comment or say something about it. But from my observation of 1 year of being at the UK delegation to the United Nations and working and negotiating within a group of countries, by the way, Republic of Korea is in a group of countries that UK also negotiates with and is aligned with on a lot of issues. What I noticed, so my general observation from the negotiations of the Global Digital Compact, there is this kind of global power struggle right now on AI governance, right? Because there are two approaches. A global south that has no access to resources and knowledge on data governance and AI governance, to the point that not many diplomats in New York know anything on AI or AI governance, or even internet governance. So the global south wants to be a part of the conversation, which means they really push for global AI governance on the UN level, because they see United Nations as this sweet spot where all the countries are member of United Nations, or almost all, and that they can really have an access and have a say in what's going on. There is an opposing view, and the opposing view is the view of the West, including Republic of Korea, in foreign diplomacy, and Western countries, where there is an opposing view where countries say, okay, we've already done quite a lot of work, and we don't think that United Nations is the right place for global AI governance. We actually think that that should be done on the national level. Each country should do their own, or regional, right? Each country should decide on their own AI governance the same way you do the data sovereignty, and you promote that. And then, well, you can have a global dialogue, but it should not really have any regulatory power, right? So this is the main discussion that is now really ongoing all the time. And for 1 year, countries negotiated in New York how the global digital compact, so the whole framework should look like, and that was one of the most contagious aspects. There is also another aspect. There is an aspect of how to approach, what I was talking about, it's on both on data governance level and then on AI governance level, right? But without data governance, we have nothing to talk about, right? So the first thing is data governance. Then there is an aspect that is connected to that is about national sovereignty versus digital cooperation, right? So there are countries that really want to do it on the national level, and they don't want to have they don't want to have don't want to have a multi-stakeholder engagement as well. So it's national versus international, and then governments versus multi-stakeholder engagement. So you're going to have a quite big division, and it's not really Western countries versus global South. So it's not really like G77 versus the rest. But there is some line that you can draw where it's said there are countries that really don't want multi-stakeholders to influence what they are doing. And there are countries that really promote it, including Republic of Korea, United Kingdom, and many others in the group of countries that are going to promote multi-stakeholder engagement. So we can add to this a lot of other layers, including gender discussions, because another aspect is the gender discussion, where a big part of negotiation is gender-based approaches versus women-based approaches. So these are things that we had to negotiate, and we managed to negotiate that we have a word gender and not women in the Global Digital Compact. And then increasingly the discussion between AI governance, how to do AI governance versus not hampering innovation, especially in the new US political context when everything kind of turned around. And now it's all about empowering industry and industry having a voice and doing AI innovation, AI governance in a very soft way so that innovation is not stopped. And that leads to one thing that we might mention. When I was negotiating Global Digital Compact, there was always talk about trustworthy. We are pushing for trustworthy AI, right? And safe and secure AI and data governance. Now the wording's gonna progressively, because of US, change. There's no safety is FOPA. Now everybody focuses on security. This is why a lot of AI institutes are not, like all for UK AI Institute is not called UK AI Institute anymore, it's called AI Security Institute. So this is what happens because of the changes in approaches, right, on a more political level. So I just wanted to show, give you a little bit of a take, and I'm happy to answer questions if I can, because I cannot answer all the questions, but to give you a little bit of kind of oversight what's going on the high tech geopolitical level. I'm going to stop
Great.
now.
Yes,
we can
thank
follow
you.
up later.
Because I have a question for Ohsung. So I'm going to take a slightly deviate a little bit and talk a little bit about developers and engineers in that context. How should responsibilities be distributed among developers, users, managers, and regulators to ensure safe deployment of AI systems? So can you talk a little bit about your thoughts on that?
그 아까 이제 거버넌스를 얘기를 하셨는데 그 참 중요한 주제인 것 같습니다. 지금 우리나라 기업들도 서서히 이제 거버넌스라는 거를 고민들 하기 시작을 하고 있습니다. 그 대표적인 시그널 중에 하나가 이제 AI COE 해갖고 각 기업마다 이제 AI Center of Excellence라는 한국말로 하면 AI 사무국이죠. 이런 것들을 이런 이제 어떤 협의체 이런 리소스들이 이제 고민을 하고 기업 내에서 그런 팀을 만들거나 V팀을 만들거나 뭐 이제 이런 식으로 가고 있어서 이제 AI를 그 전에는 단순 막 이제 받아들였다가 이제는 우리가 컨트롤을 해야겠네. AI도 여러 가지 부작용이 있고 리스크가 많고 뭐 여러 가지 악용을 한다든가 뭐 데이터 프라이버시서부터 시큐리티 아까 얘기하신 시큐리티 뭐 인텔렉츄얼 프로퍼티 여러 가지 이제 리스크들이 이제 발생을 하다 보니까 이제 기업들도 이거 컨트롤하면 안 되겠 하지 않으면 안 되겠구나. 잘못하면 큰 손실을 만들어낼 수도 있겠구나. 이제 이런 생각이 들면서 가버넌스를 고민을 하고 가버넌스를 할 때 그러면 이걸 어떻게 해야 될까? 뭔가 그 AI 사무국에서 책임을 지면 되는 건가? 아니면 사장님이 책임지면 되는 건가? 뭐 이제 이런 또 고민들을 하게 됩니다. 그러면서 이거는 공동의 책임이다. 그러니까 즉 AI 어플리케이션이나 에이전트를 만드는 개발자서부터 그거를 사용하는 사용자 거기에 더 나아가 회사의 어떤 매니저들, 리더들, 그 전체적인 어떤 다제학적인 그런 이해관계자들이 참여해서 이 AI의 어떤 안전이라든가 그런 것들을 컨트롤해야 되겠구나. 그래서 이제 개발자 같은 경우 아까 전 시프트 레프트라고 말씀을 드렸는데 이게 뭐 이미 다 만들고 나서 뭐 윤리다, 윤리를 왜 안 지켰어, 뭐 다양성, 포용성을 왜 안 지켰어 이런 얘기 해봤자 이미 늦었고요. 그래서 시프트 레프트를 해서 이미 설계 단계에서부터 개발자들이 그 윤리라는 거 아니면 가버넌스라는 것들을 이제 고민을 하기 시작을 하게 됩니다. 그래서 아까 교수님도 그 리스크 아까 이제 말씀하신 뭐 고위험이다 뭐 이렇게 얘기했는데 저희는 이제 그거는 리스크 베이스드 임팩트 어세스먼트라고 보통 얘기합니다. 그래서 개발자들이 실제 리스크 베이스드 그 임팩트 어세스먼트 템플릿이 있고요. 그 템플릿이나 체크리스트를 가지고 내가 만들고 있는 서비스가 제대로 윤리적인 부분들, 뭐 fairness, 뭐 transparency, 뭐 좋은 말도 많죠. safety, reliability 여러 이제 원리 원칙들이 있는데 그 프린시플 하에 여러 리퀘어먼트가 있을 거고 그 리퀘어먼트 대비해서 내가 이 어플리케이션 내 AI 모델이라든가 AI 어플리케이션 서비스들을 제대로 만들고 있는 건가? 그렇게 이제 거기서부터 이제 보고 있고 아까 얘기한 그 적대적 테스팅을 통해서 기업에 이제 과거에는 우리 테스팅 팀이라는 게 있지 않았습니까? 그래서 개발자들이 만든 어떤 어플리케이션을 테스트하고 밸리데이션하고 베리피케이션하는 이제 그런 행동을 했는데 거기에 더 나아가서 이제는 아까 얘기한 adversarial 테스팅을 하는 레드 팀이 이제 있게 됐습니다. 레드 팀은 전통적으로 보면 보안, 시큐리티 테스팅을 하는 그런 이제 부서였는데 저희 회사에서는 이제 그런 Gen AI의 어떤 리스크도 같이 이제 베리피케이션하고 밸리데이션하는 검증하고 확인하는 그런 액티비티까지 이제 같이 포함해서 전체적으로 설계 단계, 배포 이후에 뭐 활용 그런 부분도 문제가 되지 않게끔 그렇게 거버넌스를 하고 있습니다. Make sense?
Yes. Because you're talking and by the time I hear it, it's like a 30-second lag. No, that definitely makes sense. I'm glad
Can I
there's
also
I'm
add a
glad-
line
Oh, yes,
there?
yes. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Ramdeep.
so before you forget about me.
No, I'm not forgetting about you.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so basically, I definitely agree with whatever has been discussed. And I think we are slowly getting there. Everybody is taking responsibility of developing and deploying safe, trustworthy AI. A live example, I just from a technical perspective, I wanted to give like a very recent example from OpenAI, who just open sourced two of their very powerful models on Tuesday, and they have openly released the architecture, weights, and everything on Hugging Face, and encouraged all of us as researchers to jailbreak these models. Like, can we break these models? And they have like a huge price, $500K dollars on that. And like yesterday, we were able to jailbreak it by modifying.
All right. You got money.
But the caveat, we modified the internals of the model. So they want prompt based testing. So it's basically responsibility of all of us. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, as a community, as a researcher, as independent developer, as companies, right? To promote transparency amongst this, so that collectively we can like figure out where these models are failing, like what are the caveats, and we together can like fix it as a society. Yeah.
That's a great point. It's similar to the security white hat, black hat testing. So
Yep.
hopefully that will work, and we will see. But back to Professor Yi. So ethics as an enabler. Okay. How can we utilize available ethical instruments such as UNESCO's EIA and RAM to have a significant impact on AI global governance?
This is a kind of slightly complicated conceptual issues about the word ethics. Okay. So there is this slightly complicated conceptual issues about the concept of ethics, because we have a Korean yul리, which is usually translated in the ethics, has a slightly different meaning. That's why for many people in Korean context tend to think that ethics really kind of not really suitable for tackling the various issues involving AI. Maybe social or cultural or political, but not ethics, because Korean ethics has a very interesting feature, which is first, it should be clear to everyone. So it's universally accepted criteria whether something is wrong or bad. So if you talk about ethical controversy or ethical discussion, it sounds odd to Korean. It's in the AI ethics area, you have a lot to discuss, and you have to coordinate various value judgment and come up with, as I said, reasonable consensus as to what we should do about this kind of issues of AI. But that's not really well captured by yul리 in Korean. So I have to emphasize that ethics in the English context has the origin from the Greek word ethos. And in Greek, each city society has a different ethos. That doesn't mean that every ethos is completely different. For instance, there are many ethos which is shared, like courage, which is valued in almost every city society of Greek. But Sparta, the military city, has a quite different ethics, like the allegiance to the nation or the authority, and which is not shared by ethos of Athens, which has emphasized very much democratic values. So even in the Greek time, the people in the Greek city-states has to negotiate various ethos between the city-states in order to come up with shared Greek values, which they think, because they are civilized, and all the other people are barbarians. So they have to use this shared value as a kind of demarcation line between them and from the barbarian. And so, of course, we shouldn't follow that this dividing the dichotomy. But what I'm saying is this: ethics as the enabler means ethics not in terms of Korean meaning 윤리, is actually enabler. It's not something you just forbid, okay, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this. There must be some very critical issues like human rights. You shouldn't allow your AI to disobey various human rights principles. But more than that, you have to use your ethical consideration to build a better AI, which conforms your ethical consensus and your ethical intuition, and try to make them at the design level, and so that after you develop this AI, it will work to produce really better AI-based society. So that's a concept of AI as an enabler, and it's widely used in the various international organizations, including UNESCO. And we can use various ethical instruments. In that sense, the concept of ethical instrument is also quite a sound art to Korean. 윤리적 도구? What does that mean? Yeah, but the ethical instrument in that ethics as an enabler sense means that in order for you to employ various ethical principles in a real complicated situation where various values are conflicting each other, they are collapsing, and how to navigate through this very difficult terrain of ethical discussion, and how to check whether you actually fulfill certain ethical principle or not. So there are many ethical instruments, including ITU and the UN, UN Compact as well, which you can use, evaluate, and promote ethical consideration in the deployment and the development of AI. I think we should use this, and we try to share our experience of this usage by sharing the best practice in order to come up with a better AI international governance. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to see if the audience has any questions, because we would like to. Yes, please.
I'm from here, Hesushin, representing a civil society organization, small human rights NGO called Kwon, Korea Center for United Nations Human Rights Policy. I quickly checked this global digital compact, and then in its paragraph 4, our goal is an inclusive, open, sustainable, fair, safe, and secure digital future for all. This global digital compact sets out the objectives, principles, commitments, and actions we undertake to achieve it in the non-military domain. And of course, it was passed, at the UN General Assembly as introduced by Kasia. And so I checked the website of the UN to find out who has the responsibility. Of course, it's the government, who committed themselves. And then the UN website said, fill in this form if you are interested in endorsing the vision and principles of the compact and or to take an active part in the next steps. Yeah, and then it has a section in order to promise general information, organization, association. So you have to check whether you are from academia, civil society, private sector, technical community, international organizations. Yeah, there's no media or thing. I know that there are global compact on migration, global compact on refugees. There was corporate social responsibility. Now it's ESG, that's sweeping the business sector. So I'd like to ask all the panelists whether from Microsoft, whether you have joined in this from business community, whether from academia, Professor Lee, or his university has joined, or from, I don't know well about SRI, so how to make this successful, as decided by the UN. And I would like to know to Sakia, what would be the checking point whether this global digital compact will be implemented as outlined in this resolution, because we have SDG, that has high-level political forum every year on a voluntary basis, and then we have only 5 years left, and then it's still all red, not really green light, which will be successful for the remaining 5 years. So is it really implementable? That was my question, and all
maybe
of you.
I can start and then give the voice to others. It's a set of principles, it's a framework. So it's negotiated between countries, right, governments, but you consult with the stakeholders and they actively lobby or contribute towards there, but they are not the one that negotiate the UN framework, right? The UN framework is not binding instrument. It's just a set of guidelines, right? It's not the same like EU directive. And so it's a set of commitments, but whether they're going to be implemented or not, that depends on the countries. It's just the beginning of the process. And one of the things that actually not all the countries wanted, but it came through, is that there is the Global Digital Compact established the Office of Digital and Emerging Technologies. So before there was UN Tech Envoy Office, now officially there is this Office of Digital and Emerging Technologies, and this office is responsible right now for coordination of digital cooperation, and including in collaboration with UNESCO and ITU, right, as the main ones, and then some others. So they kind of manage the process in a way, hold the process, and what's gonna happen next. What's happening right now, because it's not the end. The Global Digital Compact is an annex to the bigger framework at United Nations that was agreed last year, which is Summit of the Future Pact, and includes everything. Like, I don't know even what to say. It's like, we had agenda, what was the name before? Our Common Agenda, and now there is Summit of the Future Pact, and within the Summit of the Future Pact, this is just an annex on the global digital kind of cooperation. Within the Summit of the Future Pact, there is also something that I also negotiated on behalf of UK. There is a part on science and innovation. So there are two different parts, and they kind of come together, but also are a little bit separate. One, before I pass to others, I just want to clarify, there is also something like UN Global Compact. UN Global Compact is where business comes together and signs up for commitments on different things, right? So on the level of the industry, you have UN Global Compact. So remember not to mix two things. You have UN, the Global Digital Compact, and these are the guidelines and kind of frameworks, and then you have this. And the commitments, how they're going to be managed and implemented, well, that's the question mark, right? There was also a lot of question mark that we as representatives of the countries had within the negotiations of digital framework, is that the multi-stakeholder engagement was quite limited. And that was a big issue within the process. I don't know whether you heard about it. And finally, on the process itself, now the discussions are ongoing, so watch out, because within the whole framework, the most contagious thing was AI dialogue and AI scientific panel. And this is what now the Office of Digital and Emerging Technologies kind of manages as a process as well still, is that The negotiations are ongoing, and knowing life, they're going to be ongoing till the very end of until UN General Assembly this year. Also, what does it mean to have AI scientific panel, which I bet you're going to also have something to do with at some point, and AI dialogue, right? Whether governments make political decisions that are implementable or not, whether a scientific panel can recommend things that really gonna then go into be like do something, or just gonna be research, right? So all discussions are still ongoing, and of course, Global South is hoping for a big influence of AI scientific panel and dialogue. And some other countries are hoping that it's just going to be an advisory role and nothing else, right? So that's going to happen. And of course, this is where you can contribute and as a stakeholder kind of endorse it, but also comment on the process. Industry.
You're good?
No, I'd like to forfeit because I've said already many. I think our dear speakers has many things, interesting things to say on
Me?
this topic. Yeah.
I can say so. I heard the word CSR. I have some thoughts on that because I run a nonprofit, and usually we get our funding from CSR. And from what I can see, since the end of last year, CSR has become more of a marketing and sales point and no real action. Okay, so budgets have been slashed to almost zero, if not zero. So companies are opting to just, do the song and dance. Oh, we're so great. We have CSR. We do blah, blah, blah. And then when you actually look at what they've done, it's not much at all, if anything. So that's what I'm seeing from my perspective. So yeah, they're signing up, but they're not actually doing anything. So we'll see if that changes in the future. But I don't know. Yeah. Yes, Ramneet, do you have anything to say? Wake up! Sorry.
Sorry, no, I think all points were covered, so nothing on this one. Yeah.
Ramneet is building the systems. So.
Testing for reliability and trustworthiness.
Yes. Actually, my next question is actually for you, Ramneet.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about the biases in training data.
Mm-hmm.
And what are your thoughts on the governance policies that would address these biases that are in the training data, to just address the unfairness aspect of things? So can you talk a little bit about that since you work on that?
Yep. So yeah, definitely AI governance policies can address biases in training data, and there are different steps to it, like establishing guidelines at different stages of the AI cycle. One can be like these policies should mandate diverse and representative data collection process, ensuring that training data reflects real world population where these models are going to impact, right? Other could be bias mitigation strategies. For example, the way we do it, like we propose different sampling strategies as well as reweighing samples. So data diversity in that sense, so that it covers like different scenarios, different origins, and not just bias towards a specific use case or specific population. So it has to be diverse, and there are strategies known as reweighing or balance sampling that we can deploy during our training. So there can be governance policies on that. And finally, there can be like ongoing monitoring, which is not just limited to like before development or during development, but also after deployment, as these models can tend to develop bias during like their use case with time. So it's not just restricted to one particular like training phase of the models. It can be like during different stages, and there are strategies that you can take at different phases.
Great, thank you. I wanted to ask if if the audience had any other questions. Anybody have questions? Yes, please.
Thank you so much for your insightful, enlightening talk today. My name is Nagyong. I'm a PhD student at Seoul National University. And I had one question about the contestations and challenges going on in the development of AI governance. So it seems that we address the issues of stakeholders and businesses having some doubts. At the same time, we also found that we can also monetize in this new field of AI. But at the same time, in the morning sessions, we learned all the two side effects of the risks and also the preventative effect of AI uses. So I was wondering, like, what are the biggest challenges from your role in the community of AI? What's the biggest challenges in the development of AI regulation? Thank you.
Excellent question. Thank you for asking. I want to start off with Ramneet. Do you want to go first to answer? Did you hear her question?
Vaguely.
Okay.
Sorry. If you could just summarize in one line.
Yes, one line here. Can you give her the mic again so she can? What's your biggest challenge when you're working on governance? Yes. And you can put it in your context as well. What's your biggest challenge when you're working on your fairness engines or detecting if it's unfair?
Right. So covering all the test cases, right? Like, how do we verify? Like, the word verification is like covering all the sample space, right? So how do you make sure that the model works in all the cases, not just what you tested, but beyond? So I think that's the most important one that I face.
Excellent. Professor Yi?
I'm not sure whether what I'm going to say is what I think as a biggest challenge, but I do believe that this is one of the biggest challenges we have to tackle, which concerns so-called ethical cost. So I'm not thinking in terms of, if you look at the global AI governance, almost every country wants to be ethical in their development and deployment of AI. It's all the same. But the way how to achieve this ethical AI or the AI which is safe and is trustworthy and all the other values are fulfilled, it's not unique. So there are many ways to achieve this kind of AI, and more specifically, there are very expensive way of this ethical goals and relatively cheap way of achieving this ethical goal. But because, as you might know, that this ethical consideration at the global AI governance level are unfortunately quite tied up with trade relations, and some countries doubt that more advanced countries trying to use certain ethical regulation as a trade barriers for the global south or the less developed country to enter into this AI development and deployment. Because, for instance, in order to, the standard way of remove bias in the training data is you prepare, this is technical term, prepare the data in such a way to satisfy various bias index. That's good, of course, but it takes a lot of money. And usually not even the venture company at the Silicon Valley cannot afford this preparation of big data set. So they have to rely on the big companies which already have this ethically verified bias-free data set, and they have to purchase this data set. So they are actually, in some sense, dependent on this big technology. And these things happen between countries, especially the technologically advanced countries and the low. So many countries, from my experience at UNESCO, asking for some, how should I say? I mean, this is not cheaper, but economically viable way of achieving ethical consideration in their development and deployment of AI. And they want to, this kind of a reasonably economical way of being ethical to be recognized as a valid ethical approach in the global governance level. And of course, there is a commercial interest involved in this kind of discussion. So it's not yet resolved yet. I think we have to resolve this problem in order for AI to be truly globally usable by everybody in the world, not just for the people who lived in the rich country, including South Korea. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? We have just about a minute or two left. 1 minute.
그 비기스트 챌린지 얘기를 하셨는데, 그러니까 회사와 제가 갖고 있는 챌린지가 두 개가 좀 틀린데, 회사는 아마 가장 AI 신뢰받을 수 있는 AI를 아까 이제 대중화 측면에서 말씀하신 것 같아요. 모든 사람들이 쓸 수 있게끔 할까, 만들 수 있을까가 가장 비기스트 챌린지입니다. 지금 AI는 성능 가지고 이제는 더 이상 얘기를 잘 안 해요. 다 고만고만합니다. 워낙 기술이 빠르게 발전하다 보니까 뒤처진 데서도 빠르게 따라오고 있고 해서 오픈 AI가 이제 더 이상 리더라고 얘기하지 않지 않습니까? 그런 것처럼 그러면은 고객들, 사람들의 마인드 어떻게끔 신뢰를 확보할 수 있을까가 이제 다음 스텝입니다. 그래서 회사는 어떻게 신뢰받을 수 있는 AI 어플리케이션 서비스를 만들 수 있을까가 가장 큰 고민이고, 저의 가장 비기스트 챌린지는 어떻게 그거 가지고 돈을 제일 많이 벌 수 있을까? 네, 그게 저의 가장 챌린지입니다.
Can I answer?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, so maybe starting from business, I think one business challenge, one policy challenge. Business on small and medium-sized enterprises, right? So how can they manage the challenge, right? Because exactly, and AI governance and addressing any issues if they are smaller and they have no money for it, and so that's one. And so how to not hamper the innovation, right? How to not stall it. And the second one, more policy line. The challenge is that countries can kind of want to do their thing. So each one wants to develop their own AI governance framework or regional. And I think there is a challenge of just making sure that there is interoperability of data governance frameworks and data governance systems, and that we don't have to deal with 100 different frameworks.
I think we're coming up, actually we're almost out of time, but as we wrap up, I just wanted to take a different angle at your question. Is, in my opinion, we don't have enough women like you in this field. We need to have 10x. We need more women in this field doing PhDs in, I think that is a huge challenge that we have, not just in Korea or everywhere, essentially. So that is something that, we should think about and see if governments can help with that in that angle. All right, thank you to all the panelists for being here and for your excellent feedback on all these questions, and to the audience for asking great questions. Thank you.
Thank you.